previously I did a startup and as a founder, and now I've been working for startups for like I think 3 years. Worked in various domains, worked as consultant also to a couple of startups. The primary point where I see that startups can fail is, as you mentioned, the founders. There are 20 things that can go wrong in a startup, but again, it's a game of choosing your wars. So if founder is capable enough to understand which war to choose, I think they can win the battle of building a great startup.
So this you're seeing from an employee perspective or the founder perspective?
In both, when I was in both the shoes. So experience over last 4-5 years working with the startups, both.
Okay.
5 things, as you asked, that can go wrong when a founder is choosing their battles. One is definitely, first is when you are not able to figure out your not perfect, but the right product market fit. You're just trying to satisfy your investors, your revenue projections, your employees, that we have a great vision ahead. But you haven't figured out the right product or the fit that market is looking for. That is definitely the one.
We'll talk about product market fit specifically.
Yeah. So just to add on to what Shrek mentioned about founders, I was reading one of the statistics जहाँ पे वो लोग बता रहे थे कि what are the top 8, top 9 things because of which startups fail. I was shocked to know that 20 to 25% is because of weak founders.
Okay, what do you mean by weak founders?
Weak founders can be anything, because what we have seen as a personality in terms of founders, जो लोग बड़े Ivy League colleges से आते हैं, because of their pedigree, they start raising money. लेकिन they absolutely have no idea about how to run a team, how to build a team, how to scale that particular proposition. तो वो एक challenge होता है उनके लिए. तो it's not just about the college, but also the experience that you go through. इसलिए आप देखोगे कि जो first time startup founders होते हैं, generally they fail. Lot of those.
Right. True.
So 20 से 22% is because of weak founders, and then there is definitely competition. Talking about on both sides of the boat, जहाँ पे we were founders and we are working for a startup. मैंने एक चीज और नोटिस करी है कि when you have big leadership, right, where there are decisions maker, जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा हैं decision makers, वहाँ पे generally it takes time for startups to pick up. क्योंकि जो
what does this mean?
तो simple example, अगर आपकी leadership में 10 लोग हैं, लेकिन आप
you're talking about the founding team or you're talking about
the top player, the top funnel जो होता है ना एक startup का director positions, senior leadership, CXOs, वहाँ पे अगर बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं versus army कम है. Army जो लोग actually बैठ के execute कर रहे हैं, आप you create a strategy, वो ठीक है, लेकिन उसके बाद वो उसको एग्जीक्यूट करने वाले लोग अगर वहाँ पे गैप है सिग्निफिकेंट, तो then you'll face challenges, because क्या है कि अभी लीडरशिप है, everybody is running their own battles, अभी सब अपनी रेस भाग रहे हैं क्योंकि everybody has to prove ना 25 साल 30 साल if you have worked.
But this is a tricky scenario. I have seen two exact models. Generally, okay, let's take a statistics in Bangalore. If you just go and start finding out, and if you pick 50 random startups, आपको दिखेगा that amount of startups that has a lot of good planners and less executors, and the amount of startups that has more executors and less planning, you will see the second one being very, very high. Because I think if you look at the startup ecosystem, at least in Bangalore or in Gurgaon, you will see that there is a lot of focus on like ship fast,
Correct.
and these are operational people who just know how to operate. There is no idea of GTM, there is no idea of planning, and hence I feel that planning has been a lot of the key areas to fail.
Definitely, but too many planners is also.
You see a lot of planners?
Yeah.
That is a very tricky space. Like, how do you identify the right amount of people you want in your team, in leadership? So again, the second point comes here. As you asked that 5 points about founders. Second point is figuring out the right leadership is very important.
Right. Absolutely.
I have worked with a startup before, and I was sure that it is going to fail until a couple of good leaders came in.
How do you know someone is a good leader?
So again, think as a startup. I'll keep repeating wars or battles, right? You are fighting on multiple grounds. One of them is, let's say, marketing. your organic growth has been slow. What do? You bring a guy who knows how to do a good marketing out of organic stuff. You don't focus on a lot of money pumping in. You don't focus on generating big burn rate for the company.
But for the founder to realize that you need that someone is also rare.
Yes, exactly. It's very rare. That's why you need to network in the community.
Right.
As a founder, you have to go out and ask people
To get a reality check.
Exactly. Like one of my previous founders, anyone I talked about, let's say even in developer community, they have reached out to them.
Right.
So they know that there is this guy who's running this company, and they have reached out to him in a very obviously humble, polite tone that whether you are willing to work for us. It's a very good thing to have.
Right.
Like cold emailing, messaging on LinkedIn. You just do this.
Right.
So second is definitely figuring out the right leadership. Very important, because you can go wrong. You will go wrong. But there are certain people who are there to say no.
Okay.
Definitely, which is very important. So when it comes to third is if you do your research well and you don't come up with just intuitions, then what's the next thing ahead?
Basically data.
Exactly. So either you have a knowledge of that domain,
Right.
you're a domain expert, or you have a knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, you bring in people, which is the second point, right leadership. Bring in people who have knowledge of domain, and you ask the right set of questions.
Right.
So a structure about finalizing next step is very important. You do your research well. If you don't do that, intuition game, you will end up failing.
Yeah.
Or you will try to fit in your games.
But moving away from intuition is a rabbit hole or a trap, right? So most of the founders. Okay, so let me give you two examples. Delivery, if you start reading about how Delivery was formed, you will get a scene that I guess one of the founders is Baru. I guess I don't exactly remember the name. Delivery's model was they were your Bain & Co pass outs, graduates from Bain & Co. And then they were like, okay, ठीक है, मेरे पास कुछ idea नहीं है, I don't have an idea. Let me start finding out by just doing research and find out, okay, what is the space that we should be disrupting. So there was no intuition-based idea. So then they saw, okay, last mile delivery is an issue, and then we will fix that. That is one model. Versus different models like let's say Zepto, let's say Swiggy or anything, Zomato or anything, where it's an intuition of one founder, okay, I felt a problem.
But what he also means is हमेशा intuition नहीं.
Exactly.
Correct. If we have seen leaders which only those who only take decisions on intuition.
Right.
They'll rarely go to data.
You need a lot of self-awareness to go
then that's not intuition. You are reading a lot of things. You are talking to a lot
Exactly.
of people. Right. You have your own data set.